Oh, Charlie, 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 the doctor's son was he. Didn't know what to do when he finished school, so they packed him off to sea. Charlie, 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 a modern tragedy. The navy rum and the tropical sun has sent him doolally. So get back on the Beagle, Charles, sail far away. The things you said today, they're surely meant for me. The men of cloth and science of green, it's quite a big up, Charlie. And there you come round telling me, my grandfather's an eight.
I got started because I having been massively into comedy, I started going to open mic nights and basically sitting there thinking, I'm funnier than this. So it's basically pure hubris and arrogance. And it turns out pretty much that was true, that I was funnier than the average open spot comic. Hopefully that's still true. And yeah, it was literally my first gig. I went, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so when it came to what style am I going to actually do on stage, kind of, well, a bit of everything. So it's, hopefully I've got to a point now where you don't quite see the influences that obviously. But since then, as I got more into slightly more underground stuff, I suppose, like Stuart Lee's a big influence, Simon Munnery definitely. But I don't know, I don't really get, these days I don't really get compared to anyone, which I think is a good thing, hopefully. Again, I literally just want to be the comedian I would most like to see. That's the long and short of how I approach any consideration of style. I've always liked weird comedy, and that's the stuff that makes me laugh the hardest. Stand-up is essentially a mainstream genre, so you basically, you've always got the considerations of a fairly broad cross-section of, because I still do the circuit, I still do clubs, I do jongleurs, I do the Glee, and so you're going out in front of a weekend crowd who, the stag nights as hen do, so you've got to make them laugh, that's why you're there. But within that, I can get away with an awful lot of weirdness. So yeah, it comes down to me literally just trying to be as funny as possible. Yeah, my favourite answer was in Brighton. There was an old punk in the audience, and he was pissed, and he was heckling all through the gig. He wasn't being an arsehole, just chipping in. I thought, like in judo, I'll use his energy against him. And I said, what superpower would you pick? It's my favourite answer because he didn't miss a beat. Right? With the power of any animal within 100 yards. For a man that drunk, that's a genuinely impressive fucking answer. That level of detail. I'm going to fight my arch nemesis. Quick, to the zoo! I've asked this question to tons of people up and down the country, all these brilliant answers. In Edinburgh, a bloke went X-ray vision when I was up for sexy reasons. They went, no, I'm a doctor. Fair play, just wanted to save time. Woo, nothing wrong with you. You'd have to do the noise. I don't believe you had the power. It's literally the bigger and harder and longer they laugh, the better the gig. Sometimes, I suppose it can be more satisfying actually sometimes to pull, so if I go on and they're not sure and then I completely pull them around, that's incredibly satisfying. But yeah, just purely making them laugh hard. Because I've wanted to be a stand-up for a long time, and I quite like the idea of being able to go into pretty much any situation and be the funniest man in the room. We're talking about the transvestism. That's something I avoided for ages. I mean, I didn't cross-dress for the first few years on stage. I was out, and I cross-dressed in my spare time, if you like. But I always saw it as something that would be a barrier between me and the audience. And it was only when I could get to a point where actually cross-dressing would be an advantage that I would do it on stage. And now what I can do, I can go on in a fairly rowdy gig, point to someone on the front row and go, what the fuck are you wearing, weirdo? And the audience kind of goes, oh, okay. And it creates an energy that I can then use. So now it's part of the rowdier the gig, the more likely I am to cross-dress at it. So yes, I'm becoming more my own person as I get older. I'm happy being a transvestite than I've ever been, more kind of open about it and being a bit more glam than ever before, and also getting less androgynous as I grow older, which is swings roundabouts. And I'm happy being an occultist. I'm happy having a belief system that doesn't necessarily represent the one I would like to have. It still doesn't fit in with my worldview, but I practice ritual magic more than ever. I've done fucking Ouija boards that worked beyond my wildest expectations, even when blindfolded. I've done moon goddess rituals. At this point, I think I'm metal, but I've got a moon goddess, so fuck you. She's got quite big tits. Well, bigger and smaller depending on the Again, I don't think about the end product really. I think about what I want to talk about. The bit I do in this show about the Jonas Brothers is it just simply stems from the anger I have about it. And if I can make it funny, I mean, there's loads of things I'm really angry and ranty about that I can't make funny. There's an awful lot of areas of politics I'm deeply passionate about and would find it very hard to actually have the audience laughing, because I'd just be going, this fucking needs to change. I apologise if there's any Tories in, because you're in the wrong fucking show! Fuck you and everything you believe in. Hey, it's the 80s. So, but when it comes to Jonas Brothers, I can be so massively over the top in my opinion of them that it becomes comedy. So yeah, it's not an intention, it's an outcome.
I love metal, right? Pop music has never affected me until recently. I saw the fucking Jonas Brothers. Those of you not familiar with them, they are a Christian fundamentalist pop punk band that became famous through the Disney Channel. What the fuck is wrong with this picture? They are good looking in a way that makes me think that Nazis had something to do with their breeding. Right?
And we really liked the steampunk aesthetic, but we found the music massively lacking. There just weren't any bands that we liked. I mean, they were all kind of generally synthy, gothy things. So we went, well, let's do a punk band, let's do a steampunk band. So we kind of took British, sort of 80s British punk, and then added a sort of music hall sort of style to it. There's bits of metal that probably creep in, because that's nearly what I listen to these days. But yeah, it was just, again, like with my stand-up, it was making the band I'd want to hear. So yeah, that's how that came about.
Oh, Charlie, no, you can't make a monkey out of me. This isn't the Planet of the Apes, it's the 19th century! Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. Well, now you stand accused of calling Victoria's dad a chimp, and she is not amused. Get back on the Beagle, Charles, sail far away. The things you said today, they surely blasphemy. Men of cloth and science agree, that's quite enough. For the country, and there you come, Red Telly B. My grandfather's an ape.
We were just off of the Green Mountain Festival, and I can't do it because I'll be doing Edinburgh. And Mark, is the bassist, is also a stand-up. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. We probably gig with a band about once a month, and I gig with stand-up about 5 times a week. So stand-up has priority when it's my job, but it's nice to do both. Edinburgh. I'm going to Australia. I'm doing the show I did this year's Edinburgh Festival, doing that in Australia, Melbourne and Adelaide, and then yeah, just writing and making sure the next show is better than this one, much better than this one, and it's basically a treadmill, you know. You do Edinburgh and then you tour, and I've now added Australia to that. The band's just released an EP for Christmas called A Very Steampunk Christmas, and yeah, just carrying on writing the shit I write, and kind of, yeah, just trying to be funny in all ways.
Oh, this is the story of old Ebenezer, who fought all of London into giving him cash.